Yo, Cardi B just stood on a stage in Florida, the same state where her ex just got shot, shouted out every single Migos member by name, said rest in peace, gave love to everybody, except the one person the whole internet was waiting on. And while all that is going down, Stefon Diggs hops on Instagram calling something performative, and you'll know who performs for a living. Meanwhile, Cardi's brand new haircare line obliterated every product in stock before most people even finished their lunch. Offset really picked the worst season of his life to be making moves against this woman. Before we get into it, like, subscribe, don't miss it. Nah? Belcalis Malini Cephas, Cardi B, performed her sold-out Little Miss Drama tour stop at Amerant Bank Arena in Sunrise, Florida, bringing out Trina, VYBZ Cartel, and having Quavo pop out, then publicly thanked Quavo and said rest in peace Takeoff, while notably omitting any mention of her ex-husband Offset. Separately, NFL star Stefon Diggs posted photos on Instagram on April 13th with the caption, moving away from what feels IDK performative and back toward real self-expression. And on April 15th, Cardi's Grow Good Beauty haircare line officially launched and sold out completely. Bro really thought filing for DNA tests and getting shot at casinos was a better look than just staying quiet. Now let's get into the receipts. Alright, let me lay these receipts out one by one because this week has been loaded. First up, the Florida show. Multiple fan clips from Cardi's sold-out Sunrise stock confirmed she brought out Trina and VYBZ Cartel, had Quavo pop out for the crowd, and as she was closing out the show, she told the arena, shout out to Quavo, and followed it up with rest in peace, Takeoff. That's 2 out of 3 Migos members acknowledged BY name on stage. The third one, silence. When I saw those clips circulate, I was like, nah, she knew what she was doing. You don't accidentally forget the father of your 3 children. That omission was surgical. Now here's where it gets juicy. According to TMZ, who obtained the actual court documents, Offset, real name Kiari Kendall Cephas, filed paperwork in February 2026 requesting a DNA test on Cardi B as newborn, the baby she reportedly had with Stefon Diggs in late 2025. A judge reportedly signed off on a DNA test to determine paternity. But wait, it gets worse. The court order also states that both Offset and Cardi B are prohibited from making negative remarks about each other publicly, whether online or in interviews. When I read that, I had to do a double take. So this man is out here questioning paternity on her baby with another man, and there's a gag order keeping them from going at each other? Bro said what? That's the most desperate move I've seen in a minute. Next, on April 6, AP News reported that Offset was shot near the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida, following a fight at the Valley area. His spokesperson confirmed he was in stable condition and released from the hospital. His statement? Life's a gamble and I'm still playing to win. Nah, you can't say that after getting shot at a casino and expect people to take you seriously. Then we got Stefon Diggs, the New England Patriots wide receiver, dropping an Instagram post on April 13th. Pictures of himself in a blue and red jacket, baggy jeans, Timbs, with a caption, moving away from what feels IDK performative and back toward real self-expression. He also limited the comments on the post. When I saw that caption, I was like, hold UP. Performative? About a woman whose literal job is performing? That word choice hit different. And finally, Cardi herself at the Charlotte, North Carolina show on April 12th, talking to the crowd about liking her partner's dark like motherfucking Pepsi, then pausing mid-dance and saying, hold on, let me stop. Bitch, I might be pregnant. Complex reported on this and noted it came just days after Stefon Diggs was spotted at her DC show, leaving with her. When I heard that, I said this woman is playing chess with everybody's emotions right now. Now that we got the quotes, let's connect the dots. All right, here's what you are missing, the timeline. Because when you lay these events out in order, the picture gets crystal clear. That Florida show, it happened days after Offset got shot at a casino in Hollywood, Florida. Same state. Let that sink in. Cardi rolled into the same state where her ex-husband just took a bullet, sold out an arena, brought out legends, and shouted out his former group mates. But not him. That's not an accident. Man, that's a statement. Any smart person would have just stayed quiet after what happened to Offset. But Cardi, she turned the volume UP. Now remember that post from Diggs? It dropped on April 13th, the same weekend Cardi was doing her Charlotte show where she hinted at pregnancy and talked about wanting a DC man to put it on her back. So Diggs is posting about moving away from performative energy while Cardi is on stage telling thousands of fans she might be carrying his baby again. The timing is insane. Either these two are communicating through social media like it's Morse code, or somebody's feelings got hurt. Here's a relationship timeline that everybody keeps forgetting. Diggs and Cardi were spotted together, then reportedly split earlier in 2026. They unfollowed each other on Instagram. Hot 97 covered that. Then Cardi went on her San Francisco tour stop and made comments that blogs interpreted as shots at Diggs. She clapped back on X saying, "Dear blogs, when I perform a song I always introduce a song with a lil razzle-dazzle. Not everything is a shot or personal." But then, Diggs showed up to her DC show with his mom and brother. They were seen leaving together, and Complex reported she hinted at reconciliation. So which one is it? Together? Not together? The back and forth is giving whiplash. And let's talk about what's happening in the courts behind all this drama. That DNA test situation? Offset filed those papers in February, right around the time Cardi and Diggs were reportedly back on good terms. So Offset really thought filing for paternity tests on Cardi's baby with another man was gonna do what exactly? That's a move of someone who's running out of plays. And the gag order keeping them from talking bad about each other online? That explains everything about why Cardi didn't trash Offset on that Florida stage. She didn't need to say his name. The silence said it all. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Now check this out. Nobody's talking about the word choice in Diggs' post. He said performative. Not dramatic. Not fake. Not toxic. He chose performative. Now, in everyday language, that word means doing something just for show, for attention, not because it's real. But here's a forensic piece. Cardi B is literally on a performance tour called Little Miss Drama. Her entire brand right now is being dramatic on stage. So when Diggs uses the word performative, is he talking about his own life feeling like a show? Or is he saying being around Cardi felt like performance? The fact he limited comments tells me he knew that word was gonna get dissected. He planted it on purpose. Now zoom into something else everybody missed. That Florida show wasn't just any show. It was a stop where Cardi chose to bring out Quavo specifically. Think about that. Quavo and Offset haven't exactly been on the best terms since the Migos breakup. Quavo's been doing his own thing, held a summit against gun violence after Takeoff's death, and has been vocal about moving forward. By bringing Quavo into her space, Cardi's sending a message. I'm still family with the Migos world, just not your part of it. Offset. And Offset really didn't catch that? That's embarrassing. Let me break down that Charlotte moment too. When Cardi said, "Bitch, I might be pregnant" on stage, pay attention to how she said it, UP. She was talking about what kind of man she likes, getting flirty with the crowd, building up the energy, and then she paused. Hold on. Let me stop. That pause is key. It's a comedian's technique. You build a joke, you create the silence, and then you drop the punchline. Whether she's actually pregnant or trolling, she knew that clip was gonna go everywhere. She weaponized the moment. And if she is pregnant with Diggs' baby again, that performative post from him takes on a whole new meaning. And let's talk about the rest in peace Takeoff moment. On the surface, it's a tribute. Obviously, Takeoff was taken too soon, shot as an innocent bystander in Houston. But the forensic layer here? By saying RIP Takeoff, Cardi aligns herself with the emotional heart of the Migos legacy, the member who was universally loved, who never had beef with anyone. She's positioning herself on the righteous side of the Migos story. And where does that leave Offset? On the side of DNA test drama, casino shootings, and court orders. If Offset had half a brain, he would have noticed his positioning before it happened. Now let's see how the media covered this. So here's how different outlets framed all of this, and the spin is interesting. Complex framed the Charlotte pregnancy moment as playful speculation, noting it came after Cardi hinted at reconciliation with Diggs during her DC show. Their angle was romantic. Will they or won't they get back together? They treated it like a love story update. Hot New Hip Hop took a different approach. They framed the pregnancy hint alongside the Offset shooting, connecting the two narratives. Cardi joking about new beginnings while her ex is literally recovering from gunshot wounds. The angle was more about the contrast between where these two exes are in life right now. Now, the Times of India. Yeah, this story went international. They called Diggs' post a privacy post and suggested he might still be with Cardi but is over the circus. They framed it as Diggs taking back his identity, not necessarily shading Cardi. That's a more sympathetic read. But remember those bars from a caption? Performative is a loaded word when your partner is literally on a tour called Little Miss Drama. Now some people are saying Cardi didn't shade Offset at all. She just didn't mention him because they have a court order preventing negativity. And those same people argue Diggs wasn't shading Cardi either, just expressing himself. Here's why that doesn't hold up. The court order prevents negative remarks. Saying shout out Offset isn't negative. It's neutral at worst. She chose silence, and silence is allowed as shade. And Diggs? If it wasn't about Cardi, why limit the comments? Why use that word? Some Offset fans are reaching trying to defend this, but those are the same people who thought the DNA test filing was a power move. Nah, the receipts don't lie. But here's what nobody is saying. Here's what the mainstream media won't tell you. Everybody's treating these three stories, the Offset shade, the Diggs post, and the Haircare sellout, like they're separate news items. They're not. This is O&E's story, and it's a masterclass in psychological warfare and brand dominance from Cardi B. Look at the bigger picture. Cardi B is currently on a sold-out arena tour, her first headlining tour ever. She just launched a beauty empire that broke the internet before lunch. She's potentially pregnant again. She's got an NFL star showing up to her shows with his memoir. And what's Offset doing? Filing DNA test requests from a hospital bed after getting shot at a casino valet. This isn't just a bad week for Offset. This is a culture physically moving on from him, and there's nothing he can do about it. Here's the real angle nobody's touching. Cardi B has built a psychological prison for Offset, and the bars are made a success. She doesn't need to say his name. She doesn't need to diss him. She doesn't need to violate any court order. Every sold-out arena, every celebrity guest appearance, every business venture that breaks records, that's a diss. Offset is playing checkers while Cardi is playing chess. Every move she makes is calculated to show the world she's winning without him. And every move he makes, the DNA tests, the court filings, the casino incidents, just proves he's losing without her. And let's talk about Diggs for a second, because here's a forbidden truth. Whether Diggs was shading Cardi or not, his post actually helps her narrative. Think about it. If he was shading her, it means Cardi B is an NFL star so emotionally invested that is posting cryptic messages on Instagram about their relationship. That's power. If he wasn't shading her, and they're actually still together, then she's got a man who's willing to deal with all of this chaos. The tour, the ex-husband drama, the court battles, the pregnancy rumors, and still shows up with his family to support her. Either way, Cardi wins. Offset is rewriting history, trying to stay relevant in an era that's done with him. And here's what makes the Grow Good launch the most savage piece of all this. Remember those court docs? Remember the DNA tests? Remember the gag order? While Offset was doing all of that, Cardi was quietly building a haircare brand that sold out in under an hour. Prices all under $20. The whole collection under $75 including shipping. Fans were in their cars at $11.59 refreshing the page. International fans were crying because they couldn't order. That's not just a product launch. That's a cultural movement. She made something affordable, accessible, and rooted in her real life, her Dominican family recipes, her own hair journey, her avocado mas in the kitchen. While Offset is gambling at casinos, Cardi is investing in generational wealth. That's the difference between someone who's building an empire and someone who's watching theirs crumble. Real talk. Cardi B represents a new blueprint for hip-hop artists. She's showing that you can be a mother of four, headline a tour, launch a business, deal with insane personal drama, and still come out on top. Offset represents the OLD guard, the artist who thinks street credibility and court drama is a substitute for actual growth. This is Cardi's desperate attempt to stay relevant. Nah, this is Offset's desperate attempt to stay connected to a woman who's outgrown him in every measurable way. And that's the truth they won't tell you. So what happens next? Here's what's most likely to happen. Cardi's gonna keep this tour rolling, keep selling out arenas, and keep bringing out surprise guests that strategically remind the world she's connected to everybody. The Grow Good restock is gonna be even crazier than the first drop. Mark my words, that site is gonna crash within minutes. She's already confirmed TikTok shop distribution is coming, which means she's about to tap into an entirely new customer base. Offset is gonna try to escalate. He's gonna post something cryptic, maybe do an interview trying to play the victim. But nobody's gonna care. The silence from Cardi is gonna hurt him more than any diss track ever could. Every time he opens his mouth, she sells another 1,000 bottles of shampoo. That's the reality he's gonna have to live with. Now, if Cardi and Diggs are back together, and all signs point to yes, watch what happens when they go public officially. The internet is gonna explode. If she's actually pregnant, that announcement is gonna break every social media record. And where does that leave Offset? Filing more court papers? Requesting more DNA tests? Every move he makes from this point forward is gonna look more and more desperate. Diggs isn't ready? Nah, Offset isn't ready for what's coming if Cardi drops family photos with an NFL star living their best life. We saw what Cardi did to Offset's ego during the divorce. He doesn't stand a chance against the image of her being happy with someone else and building an empire at the same time. Looking at the bigger picture, Grow Good Beauty is just beginning. When Cardi expands this line, and she will, we're looking at a potential Fenty Beauty level disruption in the haircare space. She's got the fan base. She's got the authenticity. She's got the price point that makes luxury brands nervous. 5 years from now, people are gonna look back at this week, the Florida show, the sellout, the Offset silence, as a moment Cardi B transformed from rapper to mogul. And Offset? 5 years from now, this is gonna be remembered as a period where his relevance died. Not because of the shooting, not because of the DNA tests, but because the mother of his children became a billionaire businesswoman, and he was too busy fighting in courts to even notice. Whatever happens, one thing's crystal clear. Offset already lost. Cardi B isn't just winning the week. She's winning the decade. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed uncovering the real story, smash that like button and hit subscribe so you never miss when we expose what everyone else is too scared to say. Ring that bell for notifications. And if you want more truth bombs like this, click on one of these videos next. Trust me, you'll want to see what we found.